This channel is supported by TrueFire. TrueFire is an online library of lessons from some of my favourite players. There's thousands of lessons on there. You can use the promo code JNC40 to get 40% off of any of their courses. Okay, it's my daughter's birthday, she's in bed now, and I wanted to revisit the Boss IR2 because at the time I bought this and thought that it's actually quite a, what is that hair in my face, quite a game-changing piece of gear. I did a couple of videos on it, a couple of other reviews, kind of those were maybe a little bit honeymoonish, and I wanted to go back to it, sort of turn it on again, plug it in and see if I still felt similarly about it. And I do have to say I really do feel like there's a lot of life within this pedal. So I'm playing it here on the Brit model, I think, which is sort of like the plexi type thing, right? And I'm really enjoying the feel and the tone of it. For this video I actually decided to plug in my buddy Jake's Vibe Machine and Wampler Euphoria sort of clone that was built by Thorpe Effects. that's the first time plugging those in, and it just seems to me to sound, without too much fuss, really pretty good. Sort of like the anti-modelling approach, right? Something like the Boss ME90, which was kind of interesting last year as well. I think it was last year, where it's kind of like that approach to modelling where there was a knob still for everything. This is kind of a stripped back version of that. Actually, although it's compact, it does have quite a lot of stuff going on with it still. We've got a channel select, so you can have 2 channels. So for me personally, I had like a clean-ish plexi and then a more driven plexi for like a solo boost. We've got a stereo output. It's got a built-in reverb, so I've got that set to the plate setting. It's got a USB for the audio interface. It's got a headphone output. Let me just check that out as well. I'll check out the headphone output in a minute. As well as a send and return, right? So you've got a send here and a return. The reason that you might want that is because if you were switching from a clean tone to a driven tone, obviously if you stick delay in front of this, it's going to sound way kind of more compressed and gritty. If you go into a driven tone, into a clean tone, it'll probably sound great. And then the other reason you might want that is if you're using headphones, necessarily, like with the Strymon Iridium, if you put the headphones in, anything after the Strymon Iridium, which doesn't have an effects loop, is not going to have the delay on it. And so you're kind of limited to only having the delay going in front. So kind of versatile in that way as well. And surprisingly, a bunch of the other kind of versions of this sort of thing, which is like that amp in a pedal thing, don't have that effects loop thing figured out. So interesting of Boss to have come along kind of late-ish into the game and said, okay, we could do that. And they've done a really good job. Really, really reasonably priced. It's got Celestion IRs built in, which I think are making the difference, because for me and maybe for you as well, I've in the past been a little bit, on the fence about Boss's amp sims in general. I think this is sounding and feeling really good under my fingers, so that's a good thing. You can't export presets, so there is a little bit of a set and forget kind of element to this, right? So you might want to take a photo of your settings as you like them, so you don't have to, refigure those out, although it's not that difficult to set up. But yeah, obviously you'd have to set up each channel individually. Let me just, I'll show you some of the tones in isolation. Also kind of interesting that it can run off of a battery, which most of the other things cannot either. Right, so my clean. And I could kick on my Wampler Euphoria there. Okay, I've played this with a blues driver as well. It seems to take pedals pretty well. Okay, if I've got my driven tone here. So I'm going between a clean plexi, a driven one. And the driven plexi also seems to be taking pedals quite nicely. I suppose for the purposes of completeness, I should probably give this a go with the headphones too. So let's just plug these in. I do think they struggled to kind of keep these on the shelves for a bit, and for that reason you've also seen people scalping them a little bit, which is a bit disappointing. But I think they're coming back in stock about next week. Let's see. So, perfectly acceptable in the headphones as well. It's not doing that horrible fizzy stuff that you sometimes get with a modeler. All in all, I'm pretty impressed. As I said, I bought it myself specifically to see, you know, what's that about. And I can report, I think it's a really good little pedal. Let me know if you've tried one, if you liked it, if you hated it. Feel free to leave a comment. Cheers for stopping by.